welcome to Proper Curious, the podcast for down-to-earth creatives. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Liana, and we're two sisters exploring the world through a curious lens in a quest to live more creatively.
So if you feel like that's you, grab a brew and join us. Hello and welcome back to Proper Curious.
Hello.
Episode 11. Was that hello from you?
Yeah, it was.
Hello. I hope you really enjoyed the Ghost, Ghouls and Graveyards.
We did.
Which was our episode 10. We went on the ghost quest. And then I obviously had written a ghost story that I was going to record. And we were going to do so wait for the ghost story in between. I haven't recorded it.
Because I was
But we did have a meeting, didn't we?
We did have a meeting, and I was supposed to do the sound effects to it, and I was and some music and stuff, and we've just not done that at all.
No. So that is a shame.
But at least, Rach, you were creative. I have not done anything creative that's linked to the episode.
So Liana keeps saying this, but at work, when she works with kids in a museum, and she's been doing storytelling from a suitcase using artifacts and doing improvisation on the spot, which is max creativity.
Although I did try and include some spooky elements in my most recent storytelling session. However, they were like 5, so it wasn't mega scary. So
I did write the ghost story though. I will record that at some point, and we'll just probably release it sort of
whenever it's done. And I think I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do some spooky
music
and with some spoken word over the top, because that's my thing that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But life has been very hectic actually in the last few weeks, so I've been falling asleep at 8 o'clock. So that's usually the time I get a chance.
Manic work and moving houses and whatnot.
I think though, all of this sort of culminates in your brain, doesn't it? And when you do have chance and the mental space to be creative next time, all of what we've done is just sort of merging into one big pool of inspiration in my head.
Attention to things, so permanently looking at stained glass now.
Always.
Anytime I see anything about monks, I'm intrigued. I'm adding to my monk knowledge permanently.
Yeah.
I just think, and the witch marks, me and you are obsessed.
I really am obsessed with that.
We really are obsessed.
I love it.
It's really interesting, isn't it? I actually went to the Witchcraft Museum in Leven.
Yeah.
And that was so interesting. So, the topic for today. Woo. So, during the Ghost, Ghouls and Graveyards episode, we briefly mentioned haunted woodlands, which brought us to thinking about woodland spirits.
Yeah, because you said you felt uneasy
in Roslyn Glen.
Yeah, in Roslyn Glen. So we were kind of thinking, so why? Why were you feeling uneasy? And what was lurking in the forest? And what are the hidden creatures that could have been lurking there, making you feel uneasy?
Exactly.
And we were just thinking about weird things in forests.
Weird things in forests. Myths, legends, folklore.
Yeah.
Beliefs, superstitions.
Anything that's weird.
Woodland wonders.
Woodland wonders?
I think there is something in our collective subconscious about woodlands. And it actually ties in really well with all of our other episodes. There was components in the witches and the liminal one. And obviously, a lot of the witch trials include reports of, weird things happening in the woods. And they're often obviously considered liminal spaces.
Yeah.
As Kate Bush says, it's in the trees.
It's coming.
It's coming. When I was a little child, running from the night. Yeah. So, will I kick off?
Yes, do.
What I was going to talk about, really, I think we were both thinking we'll focus on our regions. So I was looking at Scottish woodland.
And there's so much.
And for a kick-off, there is so much. And there used to be so much forest.
Yeah.
So the Caledonian forest of the Highlands was once more like the woodlands of Northern Europe.
Yeah.
Do you know that sort of density, dark? But since Neolithic times, they've started to clear it. And I didn't realise that it once covered 1.5 million hectares.
Whoa.
How mad is that? And it was full of Scots pine, birch, rowan, aspen, juniper. And also the woodland was full of wild boar,
Yes.
lynx, moose, bears, and wolves.
I know, that's so cool, isn't it, with the links?
So
Yeah.
if you think of something dark, dense, and full of things with teeth, sharp teeth in the woodland, there's no wonder really that we have got so many myths, legends, and folklore around them.
Yep.
And so that led me then to looking at things that are in the woodland. In Scotland, really, they are mainly called the Sidhe, which is the fairy folk.
How's that spelled?
Sith.
Sith,
Yeah,
but
but
pronounced
it's said.
she.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So I just thought I'd go over the different types because there's so many different types of creatures within that umbrella term. And so our first tale is of the Gilly-Doo,
Gilly Doo, that's such a nice name.
which is really from the north of Scotland near Gairloch. And they're a solitary fairy that live in the trees, often with black hair and clothes made of moss and leaves. So there was a young girl, right, from Gairloch, Jessie McCrae, who went wandering into the woods one day. And she obviously became lost because it was dark. She was in the woods. It was after dusk. She was getting panicked. And then she was like, I'm not ever gonna find my way out of here. And so she like sat down under a tree, started crying her eyes out. And then out from the trees, a voice said, "Why do you cry, girl?" And as she turned round, she saw a small, elvish creature with dark hair and dark eyes, and a smile which showed lots of tiny teeth.
Oh,
And this is the Gilly-Doo.
Gilly Doo.
He said to Jessie, "He'll be home before the stars appear through the trees." And the Gilly-Doo walked Jessie out of the woodland and she got back home.
Oh, that's nice.
And Jessie wanted to say thank you to him, but she didn't know his name. And so she asked him, and he said, "I'm the Gilly-Doo, the dark-haired servant of the woods. If you're ever lost again, I shall come to your aid. Now I bid you farewell." And he walked off into the wood. And the Gilly-Doo was said to be actually a little boy that had got lost in the wood himself when he was really little. And the fairy court, which in Scotland is called the Seelie Court, had taken him in and taught him the ways of the Fae. And then one day they actually did have a meeting and they said, "No, you can't stay here any longer because you're not actually one of us." And they kicked him out. But he was so grateful that he'd been saved and now he knew all these magical things that he decided to remain in the woodland and become a guardian of the woods.
What, like forevermore? Was he like dead?
Forevermore.
Was it just like,
No, because he's a magic man now.
okay, it's just like
Boy.
magic boy.
It's kind of like Peter Pan. Often the Gilly-Doo is seen to be like quite cruel to people who are doing harm to the woodland
Yeah.
or maybe trespassing, but will always help lost children to get out of the woodland.
Oh, I like it. So it's like, if you're nice,
yeah.
I'll help you out. But if you're like taking the mickey in my woods,
Exactly.
you're a goner.
Yeah, then there is some tales of like the men of Gairloch after some time like refusing to go hunting in the forest. And so the local laird, Hector Mackenzie, got his family together and went to hunt the Gilly-Doo. And it said that he wasn't ever seen again after that.
Oh,
But I don't think that part of the story's really been carried on because I think there's a lot more going on about him still being there.
yeah.
And
Well, if it's a
actually,
folklore, then that does tend to
you
continue, doesn't it?
in the Boer War in 1899, that's when the army started wearing the ghillie suit, which is the leaf suit, and
Oh,
that's
right.
based on the Gilly-Doo.
Interesting.
Isn't that
Yeah, how that's like permeated into something quite like,
like covered in moss and leaves? No,
military.
I'm the ghillie. And now my second tale. A little bit more hilarious. So what I find really interesting is the Gilly-Doo, obviously that sort of folklore kind of serves a purpose, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's like the don't go into the woodland, or don't do
Or
the
like
woodland
treat it with,
harm, be
yeah, treat it with
respectful.
respect. Absolutely, that ties in with mine
And
as well.
also, the woodland will help you if you're in need, which is very interesting, but slightly put the kids off as well. This second one, I don't know what purpose this serves.
What
So,
is the moral tale?
the second she,
She.
she that we're going to meet is the Urisk. Urisk. And
Urisk.
it's like a half man, half goat, like a Mr. Tumnessy sort of
Yeah.
chap. And said to be a creature made from the union of man and fae. And it's not good or evil, right? And it's usually near, like, just, well, isolated places, woodland, near lochs, near rivers. But I found, like, stories about it being all over the place. And it's basically often referred to as a bit of a sort of good-humoured sloth. And it just, like, sits out chatting all the time. I actually think I do feel some kind of, like, connection to this. But it often likes to talk with travellers. Sometimes it acts as a guide, or sometimes it likes to, like, chase trespassers out.
Just like depending on how it
Yeah.
woke up that
Then
day.
sometimes it comes down to the village and because it wants to warm up in someone's house. And often people
Fair
would
enough.
keep a specific chair for the Urisk to sit on by their fire because
Oh,
actually it would help with the odd jobs sometimes.
nice.
It's kind of like the brownies. Do you know, like the house brownies that you
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
gifts
yeah.
for them to help because they help you with the
Uh-huh.
housework? Anyway, in the valley near Loch Linney, this particular Urisk sat on the hillside, hurling abuse at the shepherds, and it was kind of like nonsensical abuse, just verbal abuse, just like chatting nonsense, really. And one night, a young shepherd was walking by, and the Urisk poked its head out and yelled, "Carl, son of Carl, son of Carl, there you have three Carls. A Carl you are, a Carl is your father, and your son will be a Carl, and his son will be a Carl, and you'll all be Carls, like it or not." And this made the shepherd, who was a Carl, angry, and he left the farm, and he was like, "I'm off, that's it for me." Anyway, here comes the next shepherd called Donald Moore. And he was warned about the she, so he was like bracing himself for the abuse. It was like,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
going to pay any
I'm
attention to
ready
this
for it.
bloody. And this Iris could just go, "Donald Moore, I don't like you." Every time he went out, he would just go, "Donald Moore, I don't like you." And that was it, really. Just kept doing that day after day after day after day. And eventually, Donald had had actually enough. And so he shouted out, "That is but the return you owe me."
What?
Which doesn't make any sense to me as a sentence, actually.
Maybe it's like makes
And
sense in olden times.
silence fell in the valley. And it is said that no one ever heard from the Urisk again.
Well, do you
So,
know what makes me think about though? You know, you get these tales of like especially in Cumbria as well. I think there's been a couple of like quite famous hermits that have like lived in the woods and stuff. And you're like, what if it's just a hermit that's like,
yeah, bit got hairy legs, goat legs.
or like has had some sort of magical plants to eat and is just like going off on one
Oh,
and
well,
shouting abuse
maybe.
at people and then just
That's
going in their
true, that's
houses and
true.
stuff. Do you maybe it's just like that's what they called like
Half man, half goat. So, additionally, there's obviously the Seelie Court is the fairy court, and the Unseelie Court was the fearsome fairies that were known to inflict harm and ills on man and beast. And then I just thought I'd read you out just some absolutely random ones, right?
yeah.
There's the Buccaline, which are small fairies that resemble tiny young men, and they wear pointed red hats and they can shapeshift.
Like a gnome.
So it's those like because there's also red caps that are known to be in like castles, aren't they, and stuff that are like really evil. And then in the Seelie Court, the fairy court, there's the Slough, Slaugh, which is like known as the host of Unseelie Court. And they used to say the host instead of saying the Slough, you know, as a euphemism because they were so scared of saying it in case it invoked them.
But like, where does this all come from? This is what I just.
Well, do you know, they were known to be believed to be fallen angels that roamed the midnight skies,
What?
searching for lost souls. And they're also thought to cause like sickness and death to domestic animals and lead humans astray. And it's said they can't reproduce, so they look for mortals that won't be missed to enslave.
Oh my goodness. That's so drastic.
Isn't that mad?
But like, where does that? I mean, obviously we'll never be able to know because we can't really trace it. But like, where does it? Where on earth did that come from? Like,
I don't know, but it reminded me of the Dementors in Harry Potter. And then you've got the brownies, who are small, shaggy little men in tatty clothing, and they work as a house fairy or servant. And if they're given a gift of clothing by the Master of Hall, then they can get their freedom.
oh, that's kind of like Harry Potter too, Dobby.
I know. And then this is one that really makes me laugh. There's one called the fachan.
Fachan.
Fachan, Fachan, a Highland spirit which only has one of everything. One eye, one leg, one arm that comes out of the middle of its chest, one tooth, one hand, one finger,
Whoa.
etc. Probably one ball. They're in Glenetiv, so look out if you're there. And they were described by John Campbell in Popular Tales of the West Highlands.
All right.
So, I don't know what they do,
so
but they must just be like hopping along. I'm gonna get you with me one arm.
That's really creepy. Like, how would that even move? Like,
Oh, it's gonna hop in it. What happens when it gets to a tree root?
well, hop, or it could just like move with its arm and leg on the floor
Don't
with
think
its one
so.
eye.
One eye and one ear and one nostril. Then there's the will-o'-the-wisp, which is a malevolent spirit. And this is really interesting because it's just a little light that hovers. And they're said to like lead travellers from the well-trodden path.
That's
into
also
danger.
like shared with Cumbria as well. I read about that in the like Cumbrian folk tales and stuff as well. Which you can understand where that might have come from. Like lights in the woods and the forests, could have been lanterns or whatever else,
Yeah, but it's supposed to be mysterious lights.
UFOs.
And then my final one, before we go on to my next tale, is the Buvanshi, which is the fairy women of the Scottish Highlands. That's what it literally means. It's like Gaelic. And they're shapeshifters. They're usually dressed in green, and they sometimes shapeshift into the form of crows or ravens, and the giveaway is their feet because they're actually deer hooves.
Right. Okay.
And they love to dance all night, and then they seduce men and kill them, and usually drain them of all their blood. So they're sometimes known as the Scottish vampires.
Wow.
But their typical victims would be hunters out on the moors. So really, it would be like protection of the creatures in the woodland.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, isn't it? Like they're almost like the guardian spirits of the woodlands because they're getting rid of the hunters that are preying on.
Yeah.
So that's fair. I just thought that was really interesting.
There's a theme.
And you know what? Then I looked at there was 2 examples in 2 particular witch trials. Because I was just thinking about how much these things were believed in.
Yeah,
Sealy
yeah.
Court in particular was like fact almost.
Yeah.
So there's Alison Pearson of Byre Hill in Scotland, who claimed she was visited by the ghost of a relative who took her to visit the elves and fairies, and they taught her the skills of healing, mainly by ointments. And even the Archbishop of St Andrews in 1543 to 1591 sent for her when he was ill. She cured him, and he refused to pay, and he reconsidered her skills, and then he decided they were devilish, and she was burned at the stake.
That's ridiculous. What an arse.
And then there was another woman called Isabel Gowdy in Scotland. Now, this is a bit weird. She volunteered a story that she'd been to the Queen of the Fairies and had given her so much meat she couldn't even eat it. Right?
Wow. Okay.
And then she gave a massive description in court about the fairy court and the fairy queen, and the transcripts from the court record that she actually was really boring due to the level of detail she gave about the fairy queen.
Oh, right, okay.
And she obviously started to pick up on that and changed her story to be more about the devil, and literally changed her testimony. And then we don't even know what happened to her after that. But I just thought, isn't that weird that she's gone to town discussing that she met the Queen of the Fae? Anyway, so that is your background to how much people believed in Fae. And then I found this fascinating example of a chap called Reverend Robert Kirk of Aberfoyle. Now, he is the seventh son of a Reverend Andrew Kirk, his father, so he obviously followed in his footsteps and also became a Reverend. And he was born in 1644, and he actually translated the Bible into Gaelic, and he actually got obsessed by the fairy hill near his house, and he took notes from his parishioners and wrote a book in 1691 that was called, wait for it, The Secret Commonwealth, an essay on the nature and actions of the subterranean, brackets, and for the most part invisible people, heretofore going under the name of elves, fauns, and fairies, by Robert Kirk.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. He actually went to Edinburgh Uni as well. So, what happened to Robert Kirk? He had a hill next to his house, and he used to go walking up there every day, listening and looking for the fairies. He got obsessed. So not only had he taken all of the stories from his parishioners, which we can still read, you can order the book on eBay.
From 1691, that's amazing.
Yes, so you can, read the folklore of the Highlands, basically,
that's
which
cool.
is great.
300.
Anyway, he would be up that hill so long that his wife literally had to go and get him from the hill. Because he just wouldn't come back down every single day.
Stop looking for the fairies.
But then, one day, he was found dead on the hill.
What had killed him?
We don't know.
Maybe he had a heart attack.
So, it was 1 year after he published the book, and the locals believed that he had angered the Fae by publishing the book with all their secrets. And therefore, he'd been taken. And so they actually believed that his body wasn't his body, that he'd been taken and kept under a local pine tree, imprisoned for forever, his soul. And the body was actually one of the shapeshifters that replaced him.
So what did they do?
But they did bury the body.
Right, okay.
But they still believed. And funnily enough, locals still leave coins on his grave to appease the fairies.
That's interesting.
It only gets weirder.
Oh my goodness.
His book wasn't actually published properly. It was only in a manuscripty form.
Okay.
But in 1815, Sir Walter Scott actually then published it officially. And Walter Scott wrote that after the ceremony at Robert's funeral, the form of Reverend Robert Kirk appeared to a relation and told him to go to Graham of Dockwray, his cousin, and say he wasn't dead, but he was captive in a fairy land and only had one chance at liberation from fairyland. So what he said was that his wife was pregnant when he died. He said that he would appear at his baby's baptism if Dockwray threw a knife over his head, and if he did that at the baby's baptism, he would be restored to society. But if that didn't happen, then he would be lost forever.
Right, okay.
How mad is that?
Just really
and it was
random.
reported that Kirk did in fact appear at the christening.
Because the person had thrown a knife over their head?
No.
Oh.
He just appeared. The sign was supposed to be that he appeared, then he would throw the knife over his head, then he would be restored. Right? So he did appear, but then Dockwray was so shocked that he completely forgot to throw the knife. And so he was lost forever.
Oh no, damn it.
And then in
I forgot the knife.
1982, R.J. Stewart claimed that a short and fairly plump man appeared next to him and said he was Robert Kirk and was alive in the fairy realm.
I think this
And he
is a bit of a
invited
tall
Stewart
tale.
to join him, and he was about to do so when a car horn broke the spell.
Wow.
Ooh.
This is incredible.
That was incredible. And that's really all I've got to say. But I'll just wrap it up with this quote that I found from Tolkien. I was reading his essay called Tree and Leaf, which is actually published in 1964. It was just an essay that he wrote about fairy stories. He said, "The realm of the fairy story is wide and deep and high and filled with many things. All manner of beasts and birds are found here, shoreless seas and stars uncounted, beauty that is an enchantment and an ever-present peril, both joy and sorrow as sharp as swords. In that realm a person may, perhaps, count themselves fortunate to have wandered, but its very richness and strangeness tie the tongue of the traveller who would report them, and while they are there, it is dangerous for them to ask too many questions, lest the gates be shut and the keys be lost." I just thought that was really beautiful, because I think it just really underlines that, like, intrigue and enrichment of our lives that fairy stories provide us, and like the folklore, and they like highlight the important things like respect for the forest and how we treasure our young and what's really important to us, but also there are things that to be feared out there, and the depths of things, you know, and how it can be dangerous to reveal that.
Yeah, I like that.
So I feel like that's really going to inspire me, to be honest, because it's really great.
Well, there's loads to go off there, isn't there? But it does make you think, like, you know, just hearing you talk about like how the stories couldn't quite often be like warnings, or, you know, how often the stories give particular characteristics. And this is something I came across in my research, how like particular trees have characteristics or magical properties, or and that can be the same said of the plants and things like that. And you're just thinking, you know, because obviously there are lots of plants and fungi and things that are like poisonous in the forest and the woods, and you just think how much of these tales were made up to sort of like protect people specifically, and they'd like personified, you know, aspects of the woodland into stories to be a warning. And I'm really fascinated by that in itself.
And it's like, even today, like, we still say touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood.
Touch wood.
For luck, yeah.
For luck. And it's just like, we still regularly reference magical properties of trees.
That's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I blooming love
because
trees.
people
really
used
do.
to carry pieces of bark and wood in their pocket as a talisman. And so they would touch their wood. Did you know that the word panic, this is not in relation to wood, by the way, originates from Pan, the Greek god of the wild, is associated with woodlands.
Is he?
Yeah.
So why is panic though?
Because it's obviously linked with the fear of the woodlands.
All right.
Touch wood. You'll be fine.
Well, according to Dylan, we are descendants.
He's
of
a
Pan.
descendant of Pan.
Telling me that the other week. That's interesting though, what you're saying about the wood thing, because I mean this isn't like the main bulk of anything that I'm about to talk about, but I did come across when I was reading about like rituals that involved like specific types of wood, and how like when they were lighting like Beltane fires on May Day, that one of the things that quite a lot of families would do is like boughs of the mountain ash, so still called witchwood, which was obviously supposed to be like magical and protecting against evil spirits and stuff. They carried them around the fires, and they like leaves and twigs of the tree were inserted into keyholes and suspended over doors to prevent witches and things like hurting anyone inside. Yeah.
So, tell me what have you found out?
Well, I had quite a thought process with this one again.
Say that, it was a good time.
But I started obviously with the mythical beings kind of thing. Now, there is so much, obviously, like there isn't everywhere really, but there's so much Cumbrian folklore, and obviously a lot of it centres around the lakes and the fells. which, is great. And there's so much, there was so much that was like, oh, that'd be so good to talk about, but it wasn't to do with Woodlands. So I was
I know, I
really
kept thinking
trying,
that as well.
like, so many water spirits and things,
Yeah,
and like Bonessie
water
and all this.
sprites.
I was just like, this is great. But maybe that could be a separate episode, who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was really trying to find like woodland or forest specific ones, and I've got like a few books anyway that I've used. Like I've got like Alan Cleaver is an amazing like Cumbrian author. I love Alan Cleaver. I've got most of his books, but he's so knowledgeable, and he wrote a beautiful book called, it's just Alan Cleaver's Cumbrian Notebook.
Oh, is that the handwritten one?
Yeah, so the handwritten,
Yeah.
hand-bound, hand-drawn, like, so you
And he
can't
dropped
buy
it
it
off
from
by
a
hand.
Yeah, he did. I ordered it. Like, someone at work told me about it, and I was like, oh, I've not heard of that. Like, when we moved here, and it's like beautiful. It makes me think of you actually, like your kind of like notebooks and stuff. You know that you
Oh,
doodle and like then you write little
yeah.
notes. It's just really carefully written, like beautiful handwriting. But anyway, that has just like one, it's really accessible as well because it's like one page per story and it doesn't go into massive level of detail, but it's just nice. And he's got so
Yeah.
much local knowledge, like history and ghosts and folklore. He's got a website called Hidden Cumbria where he's created some like interactive maps of like where boggles are and where fairy stories are, so you can go on
Amazing.
that. And he's written like books about like the corpse roads. He's really one of these as well, like when you read it, it'll say like, if you want to know where the fairy doors appear in this woods, just email me and I will tell you where the fairy doors appear. So it's like, oh, do you put them out? But like I was just like, he like his like contact details and address and everything are in the front of this. And then I was like, I'm gonna write him a letter. And then I thought that might be a bit weird. So
Yeah. Well,
Alan
probably
Cleaver,
like it then.
if ever you listen to this, I am your biggest fan.
Oh, yeah. Post the book on
I might.
Instagram.
I will do. Like, I'll do a little story actually to show the book because
Yeah.
it is beautiful, and you can just still order it, and he'll like hand bind it for you, and like he
I'm
delivered
gonna
it
order
to my
that.
door. Anyway,
Where
so
you going with
lots of good books, and obviously there's Taffy Thomas, famous storyteller who has written Cumbrian folk tales, and then there's a new book called Folklore of the Lake District, which is written by Stephen G. Ray, who's like a folklorist and storyteller called the Bard of Cumberland. And actually, if you are interested in Cumbrian folklore, I would highly recommend getting the book because it is packed full of like, it's kind of like a culmination of all of the other people's stuff. And there's so much in it. It's really good. I mean, you could just look at the reference list and be like, there's my recommended reading. And then I had like a couple of older ones that were like, I found one at work actually called Ghosts of the Lake Counties by Gerald Findler, which is just really good though.
That
Only
looks
a
like it's
thin
from the
book.
70s or something.
It's really old. I found this at work. 1969,
Oh,
that one. And then there's another one called like Ghostly Cumbria by Rob Kirkup, which is very similar to your Rob Kirk.
maybe that's his spirit of his soul that came out from
Maybe
the
that
pine tree
is
just for a
him.
bit, wrote a
And
book
he
and went back.
wrote a book about Ghostly Cumbria. But anyway, so they're the things that I was using as well as the internet. Yeah, so I started with like mythical beings and I was thinking, right, this is really interesting. Let's try and find some about woodlands. And some of them resonated with yours in terms of like the cautionary tales almost. And then there were
Yeah.
some of them that were a bit like, that's just really random.
I love the really random ones. That's actually my
So,
favourite ones now.
so the Boggles was an interesting one because you know how you were saying like the Fey folk.
Is it a bogle or boggle?
Well, I've been saying Boggle because it's O and then double G, which would phonetically
Oh,
be
so
like
they're in
Boggle.
Scotland. They've got one G.
Yeah, so I think there's different ways of sometimes known as Dobbies, was it? No, just one.
Dobbies. That is
No,
Dobby.
no, there is a Dobby. There is Dobbies ones in Cumbria and folklore that are
Oh,
like
is there?
house elves, which is like J.K. Rowling.
Oh, is that why the garden centre's called that?
Oh, I don't know actually. Anyway, so Boggles, I read about that in Alan Cleaver's book originally. So Boggles, though, was an interesting one because
So what is a
it
boggle?
can be like anything. So quite often a boggle is either like a ghost or a boggle
Okay.
could be, or it also, on the flip side, could be like an apparition of an animal. But these animals
So
are
it's
like
anything
horses,
you fear, like in Harry Potter
horses,
when there's a
rabbits,
one in
cats,
the wardrobe.
dogs, and they're said to be linked to appear when someone is going to die or there's like death nearby, or it's like especially
What,
the black
cats?
dog. No, like if you see a black
Black dog.
dog boggle, it's supposed to say that there's going to be a death in the family or something like that. Or one boggle led someone through a forest to someone who'd hung themselves.
Oh
Grim.
no.
Yeah, but I'm like, well, these are just like all normal animals as well. So how do you know if it's a boggle or not?
Yeah.
But they will. But apparently, it's like an animal that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, so it's just really weird that it's in that location.
But I was like, okay. But there was one boggle that appeared as a calf, apparently, who kept going towards a wall and then disappearing at a particular point in the wall, and then the person buried there and found some treasure. So that was a nice boggle. And then there was another one. So Muncaster Castle, which is probably one of the most haunted places and has so many stories around it. It's one of my favourite castles. So the famous boggle or ghost that apparently like resides there is the ghost of Mary Bragg, who was murdered really violently actually in 1805. Yeah, so apparently she was like tricked and then murdered by like two men.
Really, in real life?
Yeah, it actually happened. And she's supposed to haunt it. But that to me is like, that's just a ghost. But anyway, and then the other one that was really random was the hagworms, which live in Hag's Wood, which is just on the edge of Arnside, which is so like South Cumbria. So the hagworms or serpents were huge, hairy, and large enough to swallow birds. And apparently one story tells of a young boy who'd seen one and it like flown up into a tree. So I don't know, maybe they have wings or something. But then he ran home, told his parents, and then his parents were like, oh my goodness. So they went back and they like burned the tree to the ground.
Oh.
So hagworms.
But if they're huge, would they not be able to see it?
But I'm like, is that just a snake? A hairy
Not
snake?
A huge hairy snake that eats birds?
Well, snakes probably do eat birds, don't they?
I don't know.
Oh, who knows anyway. So that was one that I concluded that because I was like, I've never heard that before. And it makes me want to go to Hag's Wood and see what's there.
Yeah, we need to go to Hag's Wood and find a hagworm.
Hello, worms. Hagworms. And then the other two for this section, one that I was really fascinated that I'd not heard of before was in Stephen Ray's book. He mentions Jenny Greenteeth, who apparently lurks in the water in the flooded iron mines within Plumpton Woods in Ulverston.
Oh, that's very
And I was like, well, that's creepy.
Do you get green teeth with iron?
No. So what this is it's supposedly this Jenny Greenteeth was a water hag who pulls children and the elderly into the water to drown them, and she's got green skin and like long green hair and like really sharp teeth and sharp nails and like really.
Is this
like,
in a wood then or
looking.
in the water?
So it's in the woods, in the water, in the woods.
It's in the woods. The water in the woods.
It's Plumpton Woods, apparently. So I need to go to this place now as well.
Wow.
But when I was researching, because I couldn't find a lot more information specifically on that, but Jenny Greenteeth is a very, like a Northwestern folklore.
Okay.
It's quite a common thing. And she's got lots of different names. So some of the other names that she is called, Ginny Greenteeth, Wicked Jenny, Peg O'Neill, Jeannie Greenteeth. But she is said to be basically it's like a cautionary tale to stop children and people falling into rivers that have duckweed in them. And I googled duckweed, and duckweed is the one, the one that like the algae sort of thing or plant or something that covers the top of it, so it looks sometimes like grass. Not grass, but like it looks green, like a green carpet.
You often step on it and you fall in.
And you think, gosh, that's not actually like Pip's done it before.
Round.
Pip did it once, and she came out and her paws were like covered in green dots. So I was like, you can imagine if a child has fallen in and then they emerge, they would just be covered in these green, and it would look like green scales and things. But I just thought that was really fascinating because I'd not heard of that one before.
No.
And then the last one that I thought was really beautiful actually, because it links with a really nice like folk song that me and Dylan sing about John Peel, who's a real local person.
What's it go like?
Dear Ken John Peel and old Ruby too. He's like a famous fox hunter that goes around. But it's not great. I just like the tune. It's very jolly.
Yeah.
So anyway, in Cumbrian Folktales by Taffy Thomas, he writes about this one because that was told to him from an elderly folklorist and storyteller called Ruth Tongue in the 1960s when he was a teenager. He listened to her tell this tale, and she'd got the tale from a soldier who was stationed in the Lake District in 1948. So the tale goes that this fox is on the run from John Peel.
Yeah.
So the fox went into the woods, went to the hawthorn, who helped it get over the wall. So the hawthorn said, come on, you injured fox, there's a dip in the wall there, you won't need to jump, you can just kind of go through the dip in the wall.
Yeah.
So the fox was like, thank you, hawthorn. And then it went over to the holly tree, who was not a kind tree, actually. The holly tree was trying to ensnare the fox even more. So the fox was like, give you a wide berth, going on to the oak tree now. And then the oak tree kind of opened, and the oak men inside the oak tree said to the fox, because the fox said, can you let me in, there's some people pursuing me, and they're also coming for you, and they've got like scythes, and then they're going to cut down your mistletoe. So the oak tree was like, well, usually we would avoid foxes, but you are clearly a friend of ours. So they let the fox come in and said, dip your injured paws in the oak pool and you can heal your paws, and then you can come inside.
Do you know druid actually means oak man?
So then the tale ends, or Taffy writes at the end, surely the creatures and trees of the forest will reward those with a kind and polite nature. So again, and I thought that again, it's that
I like that.
respecting the forest and the creatures within it, but also that each tree has its own personality, and like the holly tree, nope, not
But also
nice.
it's that like, what do you call it? Like, what's that word when you do right even though nobody's watching? Like integrity. We used to have a sticker at one of my workplaces that said that.
What, do right when no one's watching?
Yeah, it was like a magnet.
Oh, that's cringe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So,
but I also really like that because I think it's like having high personal standards, isn't it? And obviously, I think before we didn't used to have laws, and so do you know, like we were learning about the witch trials and things, people's reputation and trust in people was really the highest precedent. So if you think about maintaining integrity and trust and like your personal standards, people really used to hold that.
I feel like
and now that has all gone away. No, right, carry on. Sorry.
So then, because I was thinking a lot about the boggles and about how they appeared as animals and things, and obviously it had mentioned cats in there, and I started thinking about just like, have we got any like modern sightings of anything? Has there been recent sort of like sightings of things in the forest? And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to Google it. I was like, I am going to Google, does Cumbria have a Bigfoot? And like, I couldn't find anything on
Does
that.
Cumbria have a Bigfoot?
Maybe
You need to start that rumour.
That's kind of giving it away, putting it on the podcast now, isn't it? For the millions of listeners we have.
Our 7 YouTube subscribers. They'll be out in the woods.
It's like 150 in total we've got, actually.
Yeah. Welcome.
Oh, welcome 150 people. Especially that person in Japan. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Really listening
Thanks for
to our
listening
thing.
so avidly.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, does Cumbria have a Bigfoot? So I literally Googled that, and then I switched it to Sasquatch just in case,
Very American.
and I didn't really find anything about that. But then I did come across the Beast of Cumbria, which is a popular regional legend that refers to mysterious large black cats, often described as black panthers, leopards, or lynx, that are rumoured to roam the Cumbrian and Lake District countryside. Dark predators, large dark predators. And it is actually mentioned in Stephen Ray's book again, The Folklore of the Lake District. So then I went down like a proper rabbit hole, Googling like escaped black cats in Cumbria. Like, how many sightings have there been of like panthers in Cumbria and all of this? Because it's all over. It's nationally, actually, isn't it? That people are like, I've seen something. It's definitely bigger than a cat. And actually, I stumbled upon a news article that was published at the start of 2024 that referred to something that had happened in October 2023. It was a lady called Sharon Larkin Snowden came across a carcass of a sheep, right, and disturbed the animal that had been feeding on it. And she described it as, to quote her, this was a Country File news article, she said, To my right, I saw something black and running and assumed it was a sheepdog. And then I did a double take and realised it was a black cat. It was big, the size of a German Shepherd dog. So then what she did was take some swabs from the sheep's nose and back and front legs.
No way.
I know, because you just have a swab thing in your pocket, right? Sent to a laboratory at the University of Warwick, which specialises in testing for big cat DNA, which was run by Professor Robin Allaby. And he told the BBC Countryfile magazine that they were able to make a positive ID of DNA belonging to a cat from the Panthera genus, which includes the 5 species lion, leopard, tiger, jaguar, and snow leopard. But only 2, the leopard and jaguar, have the melanistic, the black forms, as seen by Larkin Snowdon. So actually, there may be.
That's a panther.
But then there was articles that I found that was like questioning the validity of the actual results and how trustworthy they actually were. But
right, okay.
I wouldn't put it past it, because historically, exotic pets have been brought over, and then there was like a time where there was a rule made against it, so people just released them into the wild, didn't they? Because they were like,
and also people illegally buying kittens that they feel
actually,
and it's not a cat.
They're just like, oh, this is a big cat.
Yeah, accidental jaguar. Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Or panther.
This is a bit scary. But just imagine, though. I think
what
that's
if it's
possible.
a form of like the Scottish wildcat that's got a gene variant?
Yeah.
And wandered down.
Or like, just normal cats have evolved somewhere in the wild to be like...
Well, it could be Martha, to be honest. She's quite huge.
She is huge. She's a massive cat.
She's a massive black cat.
She's like,
I'm eating sheep now. I'm eating sheep. Mutton for me. Mutton, fork, knife.
She probably would. Anyway, so I just thought that was really interesting, because that made me think. I actually thought, I was like, oh my gosh, next time I go walking on the fells, am I going to be like, did you see on the forest line, Dylan, there's a prowling black cat?
Well, make sure you take your swab kit so you can tell. Hang on a minute.
I'll just take
wound.
An old COVID.
Old
COVID. Maybe she had some COVID swabs in her like backpack.
Anyway, come on. Back to the woodland folklore.
Yeah. So that was that one. And then I moved on from that. Then I was thinking about, like, I don't know how I got on, how my thought process took me to this bit, but it did. I was kind of thinking about like physical features, because I was like, okay, I've talked about like creatures and modern things, talked about like mythical things, and then I was like, woodlands where there's like physical things where you can go and visit. So like, because I'd read about like the fairy steps of Beetham, and I know there's like fairy steps in other places too.
Everywhere.
But the fairy steps of Beetham, obviously, in the woods, and they go down, there's like narrow steps in the limestone rock, and obviously if you go down it without touching the sides,
to the woods,
the fairies will grant you your wish. But it's like 30 centimetres, so pretty much impossible to go down it without touching the sides. Unless you're like...
What, it's 30 centimetres?
Unless you're 30 centimetres. Or less.
30 centimetres? That's the size of a big ruler.
The tightest gap is 30 centimetres wide. So the challenge is almost impossible. So you'd have to... Unless you were that creature with only one of everything, then you could get through it. I don't have a clue where the origin of that came from, like, the fairies will grant you a wish if you can go down it without touching the sides, but it's kind of like game, isn't it? It's quite fun. But apparently that path was once part of the Lakeland Corpse Trail, which obviously was used to transport the coffins to the nearby church. So I just wonder if something came from that.
Well, do you remember when we were doing that morning stuff in Memoriam? They had a lot of things about souls not passing through, didn't they? I wonder if it was something related to that.
Yeah, maybe. And then the other thing that I thought about that just I remembered was, and I don't know if you'll remember this, when you're driving on the M6 and you get to a specific point. I was driving down the M6. Oh, she's back to the roads. There's a point that you drive on the M6 in Cumbria and you get to like the start of Cumbria, I think. Well, not the start of Cumbria.
It's the start of Cumbria.
It's absolutely not. I actually have no idea where it is. But there's a bit where you drive through like the valley of like 2 fells, and on the right hand side, or the left, depending on where you are.
on a road
I'm so sorry.
somewhere on one of the sides. What is that, Liana?
Oh
Right, go on, tell me. Right, go on. This better be good.
So, next to the road, whichever. There's a patch of trees, right?
Oh,
Do you know this? There's a patch of trees in the shape of a heart.
right. Yes. And what?
I've always noticed that when we've been driving up or down the M6, and there's a heart shape of trees with different. And I'd always been like, "Oh, that's really lovely because it's proper heart shape." And then someone had told me that it was a farmer who'd specifically planted the trees in a heart shape for his wife. So that was a story that I always believed and have told people. And then when I Googled it, apparently there are other stories attributed to it, because I thought that was like factually correct. And then other people have said that it's not that, it's a memorial for a broken-hearted mother to her dead son. And then other people have said that actually it's like the final resting place of star-crossed lovers and things like that. So the trees grew in a heart. And then it was like, but there is not any evidence to substantiate any of these claims other than the fact there is a gill that runs through the middle, which accounts for the odd shape. And I was like, oh. So there's nothing.
If you're on the M6 somewhere, on any side that we don't know, if you see some trees...
Well, it depends which way you're going.
They don't mean anything.
But I thought that was an interesting story because it's like a piece of land, woodland, that is weird shaped and has its own folklore attached.
Yes.
That's it.
Wow.
So, following on from that wonderful story about the M6, see, all of yous now are going to be on the M6 and you're going to be like, where's these heart-shaped trees? Anyway, so the one more thing that I did find that kind of links nicely and loops back to your lovely Tolkien quote.
Oh, it's because
it involves Tolkien. So there's a place in Carlisle called Kingmore Nature Reserve. It's the oldest nature reserve in all of Cumbria, apparently. I'd started to look at trying to find like magical objects associated with woodland. I really went for it.
You went in categories.
Yeah, I did. Yes. So in 1817, like a gold Viking ring from the 10th century was dug up, and it had it's known as the Kingmore ring. It was carved with runes all around the outside of it, which was meant to ward off illness and evil.
And what did the runes spell?
I have no idea.
Dunno. Anyone want a tote bag that says dunno? It's in our store. No.
Dunno. So historians believe that runic ring helped inspire Tolkien's One Ring for the Lord of the Rings. Tolkien's ring. Obviously, that's not folklore, but I was like, what a cool thing to find in a forest.
That is great.
What a find. Just imagine what's under your feet.
Do you know where that ring was found near?
Kingsmore Nature Reserve.
A junction off the M6.
Oh, yeah.
The M6, the mystical gateway of the woodlands.
So that's it. That's me. Done.
Wow.
Yep. That was good. Fun.
Well,
I
that
like
was
that.
so interesting. And what a laugh. I actually have a really beautiful quote to round up, do you know?
Aww.
So I've been reading The Heart of the Woods by Will Menmuir, and it's only just come out. So
nice.
You can read that. It's beautiful. It's all about like woodlands. It's got bits of folklore. It's just talking about like our relationship with woodland in general.
Yeah, I like
As
that.
people
Nice.
and through time.
Yeah.
And in it, he says, talking about the like folk tales, myths and stuff, the ambiguity of these stories is one of their enduring legacies. And along with these ambiguous stories, we have inherited complex feelings about the wood and the forest and the mysteries that lie at their heart. Maria Tatar suggests that fairy tales offer a roadmap out of the woods of confusion, of darkness, and back to safety, to home, to the safety afforded to us by the walls which we've put up to keep the wilderness out. Though I wonder if they also suggest that once we've been into the woods and experienced the wilderness there, when we return home, we realise there's no real going back. They remind us that at heart, we all retain the vestiges of the Wunderwasser. A part of us belongs forever to the wild forest. Regardless of how civilised we have become, like Gawain, we carry the wilderness within us.
I like that. I
Isn't that
definitely
beautiful?
carry the wilderness within me.
I've got a Wunderwasser.
Wild at heart. It reminds me of that song. Have you seen that film, Into the Woods? Into the woods, into the woods, into
You got like possessed eyes when you sang that. Into the woods.
Because it's like a musical,
Oh,
and like
maybe
Anna
I'm a
Kendrick
little
is in
bit-
it, and like loads of other people. Into the woods, and like Meryl Streep. Have you seen it? It's really
Streep.
great. It's really good.
No.
Really good film. Into the woods. It's like a really twisted fairy tale. It's like a merge. It's a
What's it
merging
called?
of into the
Into
woods.
the woods.
Into the woods. Into the woods we go today. Da, 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 da. I don't remember the words. It's very good.
Yeah.
They all sing.
Okay. So I, as usual, think this will prompt some creativity.
We'll see with me.
But you never know.
It'll prompt creative ideas, but whether I do them or not. That's the
I've got a
difference.
lot of oak
Oh.
in my cupboard.
What do you mean?
I've just got a lot of oak.
What,
so
you've
I was thinking about
collected?
carving it. No, wood.
We've both got Dremels. Maybe we ought to do some Dremel work. I've not used it yet.
So I was thinking about carving a statue of a wood woman, like a deer woman.
Mhm.
I think antlers is a bit too ambitious for my whittling skills, but I could do something.
Yeah.
I could definitely wood burn something onto it if I managed to carve out a bit.
Do you know what you should do? Go into the woods. Into the woods. And carve
A runic ring.
carve an oak man into the tree. Or
I don't want to harm the
or a
live
sh-
tree.
choose one that's dead.
Well, I've got the dead one in my cupboard,
I just think it's
so I'll use it.
because there's a tradition, isn't there, like all over the world actually, about people carving faces into trees in the woods to like as protection and things.
So that was beautiful.
That was really nice, actually. There's so much, isn't there? There's so
I
much.
definitely feel like there's another episode in like healing properties of the
Oh,
trees,
there's,
and,
like,
magical
another-
properties of trees.
Million episodes that can come from this because it's so
Because
vast.
that's it now. We're set off on this.
I think we should do a whole episode on the M6. Interesting things. Well, do you know what else you can see from the M6? Gunnerkeld Stone Circle, which is like the best stone circle. And Shap. You drive through Shap at the M6 and that's got all the stone rows. and
Shap.
stuff. Shap.
Stone lines, stone rows.
Good chippy.
Right.
And
let's
there's other things on the M6 actually
Oh,
that you can see from the road that feature
so, and we'll leave it all there.
No, I'm telling you that there's other things you can see from the M6, like the salt.
Thanks for listening.
What's it called? Salt,
We have a really
like
good
Salt
evening.
House, where they keep salt or something like that. And it's in M.W. Craven's books, like murder mystery books, Washington Poe series. There's loads of good stuff on the M6.
All right.
I think I just love roads. Anyway.
Right, well, thanks for joining us for this episode on Woodlands and the M6.
Join us next time where we'll delve more into the mysteries of the M6
And we'll talk more
and other
on the
areas.
A72.
We might go back down the A75 and look at the big signs. See episode 1.
We just start off so well and then we totally... This is because I've had a whiskey.
I've not even finished mine.
Well, I thought, I'd better drink whiskey because it's...
Whiskey.
the wispy.
The wit of the wispy.
Because it's aged in oak barrels, isn't it? There. It's a connection with the woodland.
What am I drinking? Northern Monk. We mentioned.
Oh, it's bead. Oh, bead juice.
Thanks for joining us. That was really lovely. Hello to the Japan person who's listening again.
Don't let her intimidate you because she's a bit weird. Okay.
And Alan Cleaver, hi.
Meryl Streep, hi. Okay. Right. Right, we'll leave it there. I'm gonna let you go into the woods. No. Okay.
Bye then.
Bye. I don't know why I'm moving.